What if I told you that you could buy the Eiffel Tower? Sounds like a scam, right? But believe it or not, it's not. At least, not for some people. This was the crazy trick pulled off by a man named Victor Lustig. And let me tell you, he wasn't just any ordinary scammer. He is known as the greatest con man in history. And here's how he did it. Victor Lustig was born in 1890 in a small town called Ostende, back when it was part of Austria-Hungary. Life was tough. His family was so poor they lived in an abandoned house and often didn't have enough to eat. But Victor was different. Even as a child, he refused to let poverty define him. At just 12 years old, he ran away from home and started living on the streets. He survived by pickpocketing and begging, but it wasn't enough for someone as ambitious as Victor. He taught himself gambling tricks and sleight of hand, becoming a master at fooling people. Victor knew he had a talent, and he wasn't going to waste it. His dreams were bigger than the streets, and he believed America, the land of opportunity, was the perfect stage for his next move. So Victor boarded a ship as a helper, ready to chase big dreams in America. But sitting quietly wasn't his style. He set his sights on the VIP area, filled with wealthy passengers. Victor knew this was his chance. Armed with charm and quick thinking, he posed as a Broadway producer, offering investment opportunities in shows that didn't exist. His confidence and smooth talk worked like magic. The rich were hooked, handing over money without question. Victor became so good at these scams that he made the ships his home, hopping from one to another. But when World War I broke out, Victor disappeared. Where did he go? No one knows. But one thing's clear: he didn't join the army. When the war ended, Victor appeared in New York. No longer a poor boy, but a sharp, well-dressed man with big plans. He reinvented himself and was ready for something big. In 1919, he married Roberta and surprisingly told her about his schemes. But he didn't know. Some secrets should never be shared. But that's not the bigger thing I was talking about. The real big thing was about to come. The 1920s in America were all about luxury, wild parties, and big dreams. People wanted to get rich quickly, and that's when Victor's first big con came into play: the Romanian box. This money-printing machine was a wooden box that Victor claimed could copy any dollar bill inserted into it. It sounded absurd, but Victor's charm and clever tricks made people believe. Here's how he did it. Before demonstrating the box, Victor withdrew real $100 bills from the bank. Yes, the same money he had earned by conning people on ships. He carefully prepared these bills by altering the serial numbers and loaded them into the box. During his pitch, the box would print the real bills, leaving buyers convinced it worked. Victor had another clever trick up his sleeve. He told buyers the machine needed 6 hours to print each bill, giving him enough time to take their money and disappear. And disappear he did, again and again. Victor sold the Romanian box all over the country, charging between $10,000 and $30,000 per machine. The genius of his scam? His victims couldn't report him to the police without admitting they had tried to counterfeit money. Who would go to the authorities and say, "My counterfeit money machine doesn't work"? Most accepted their losses in silence. And that's what made Victor even more confident. He was so good at scamming that his victims couldn't even tell the authorities. After making a lot of money with his smart Romanian box trick, he started planning something much bigger. This new scam would go down in history and make sure people would never forget his name. Selling the Eiffel Tower, the scam of the century. In 1925, when Lustig was reading the newspaper, he came across an article that grabbed his attention. The article discussed the Eiffel Tower's financial struggles. Built for the 1889 World's Fair, the iconic tower was now costing the city more money than it could afford to maintain. The article even hinted that the Eiffel Tower might be torn down. This gave Lustig an idea, one that would turn into one of the biggest cons in history. Lustig knew he had to act fast. To pull off a scam of this scale, he needed to be convincing. With his criminal connections, Lustig was able to forge official documents, making it seem like he was a high-ranking French government official. Posing as the Deputy Director General of the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs, he crafted a believable story. The Eiffel Tower was too expensive to maintain, and the city needed to sell it for scrap metal. To make his plan work, Lustig invited a group of wealthy scrap metal dealers to a secret meeting at the Hôtel de Crillon in Paris. He told them the Eiffel Tower was going to be dismantled and sold for scrap, but the deal had to be kept secret to avoid public outrage. The opportunity to profit from such a rare chance was too tempting for the dealers to resist, especially when Lustig's charm and confidence made him seem like a trustworthy official. One dealer, André Poisson, fell for the scam completely. Poisson, eager to prove himself, was desperate for a big business deal. Lustig convinced him that buying the Eiffel Tower was a great investment. He arranged a private meeting with Poisson to finalize the deal and asked for 70,000 francs. This would cover the price of the Eiffel Tower and a bribe to keep things quiet. Poisson, believing he was making a smart investment, handed over the money without hesitation. Once he had the money, Lustig vanished. He disappeared, leaving Poisson to realize he had been tricked. By the time Poisson figured out the scam, Lustig was already on his way to America, enjoying his ill-gotten gains. Back in America, Lustig waited for the news of his scam to hit the press, but Poisson, embarrassed and ashamed, chose not to go to the police. He didn't want to admit that he had been fooled by such an outrageous scheme. Days turned into weeks, and when Victor didn't hear anything about his con, he got an idea. Maybe he could use the same scam to make more money. Lustig, meanwhile, returned to Paris months later with plans to repeat his con. But this time, one of his new targets grew suspicious and reported him to the police. Lustig had no choice but to flee back to America again, escaping before the law could catch up with him. The downfall of the greatest con man. In the US, Victor's criminal exploits only grew more daring. One of his boldest attempts was trying to con the infamous mobster Al Capone, but Capone's reputation was too strong for Lustig to succeed. However, this didn't stop him. Lustig shifted his focus to large-scale counterfeiting. In 1930, he teamed up with William Watts, a pharmacist, and Tom Shaw, a chemist, to flood the US economy with fake currency. The counterfeit bills spread quickly, alarming federal authorities. The US Secret Service, responsible for stopping counterfeit operations, noticed the rise in fake bills and soon connected the dots to Lustig. But catching him wasn't going to be easy. What if I told you that someone close to him turned him in? Yes, Lustig's lover and crime partner Billy May tipped off the authorities. She had found out about his affair with a younger woman and, in a fit of jealousy, decided to get revenge by revealing his criminal activities. On May 10, 1935, the Secret Service arrested Lustig in New York City. But even during his arrest, Lustig didn't lose his cool. He feigned ignorance, acting like he wasn't involved in the operation. However, authorities found a key on him that led to his undoing. The key opened a locker, where agents discovered $51,000 in counterfeit bills, along with the printing plates used to create them. While waiting for trial, Lustig wasn't about to sit idly by. Using his wits, he managed to escape from his cell by making a rope from stolen bedsheets. For a brief moment, he was free, until he was recaptured just weeks later in Pittsburgh. Following his recapture, he faced serious charges related to counterfeiting and escaping custody. Ultimately, Victor was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary for his crimes. Behind bars, Victor often complained about his illness, but the guards thought he was lying. However, his claims were true. In 1947, he died of pneumonia. Despite his end, he's still remembered as the greatest con man. After him, who would dare to buy a country's landmark? Would you do if someone sold you the Eiffel Tower?